Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Clerks 3 from Kevin Smith and the guys. A New Jersey guy making a movie. I got lots to say about it. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 9 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Okay, so lots to say. And I got to give you my background just briefly on Kevin Smith. When Clerks hit, I thought it was great. I loved the movie. I became a big fan of Kevin Smith, partly because I loved the movie, but partly because I liked the fact that it was a Jersey guy finally making it. And I would say, oh, Kevin Smith's living my life. Man, I want to be that guy. He finally did it. He not only made a movie, but it became big. He got a whole career out of it. You know, I was jealous. I have to admit I was jealous, but I also was rooting for the guy. All the way, I was rooting for the guy. And for a lot of the times, I just thought, you know, even when he did a movie that wasn't that great, I still kind of liked it. You know, I still kind of liked it. And, or I wanted it to be good at least. You know? And then Chasing Amy, they were shooting Chasing Amy, and they were asking for extras, and I was an extra in Chasing Amy. I actually introduced Kevin to his wife. Yeah. She was a USA reporter, beautiful girl, who sat down next to me on the set and said, I have to interview Kevin Smith. Do you know who he is? And I was like, oh, yeah. And I pointed him out, and that's me introducing him to his wife. Not really, but that's the joke. So, you know, even after that day, and I didn't really get in the movie, I almost got a line, but I met his producer, and it was cool. I wasn't totally happy with the way they were running the set, but so what? I was arrogant in those days. I still wanted his movies to do well. I still would see his movies and go, so close, you know. And when I look at his movies, I'm gonna click over to here. If I got all these tabs open. Sorry, it's slow. When I look at his movies, the ones he directed, I'm talking about. You know, Clerks was great. I thought Mallrats wasn't great, but I didn't think it was the worst movie I ever saw. And that was sort of a turning point. He said, oh, you know, we went with the studio and that was a mistake. So we got away from that. And then when Chasing Amy was coming out, I had high hopes. And like the first half of the movie, I think is really good. Then it just goes in a weird direction. I'm just like, what the hell, man? And Dogma was kind of the same way. There are parts of it that I really like, and then parts of it I go, what the hell is this? And it seemed to me, after watching a lot of his movies, that his problem always seemed to be he didn't really have a good grasp of a script. But then Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back came out, and I thought, oh, that was a good one. That was solid. That was solid beginning to end. I really liked that one. Then he tried to get away from Clerks. He did Jersey Girl, which I can forgive him for because it was like, yeah, it's a studio movie, a money movie. Then he did Clerks 2, and I just thought, this feels like, I don't know. The cartoon was decent. I thought the cartoon was decent, but Clerks 2, I just thought, this didn't really go anywhere. Then he directed the pilot episode for a TV show called Reaper, and it was really good. And I was watching the TV show for a while, and then every episode after that wasn't quite as good. And I thought, oh man, I wish he had stayed on this show. Then Zach and Miri Make a Porno, which was okay. And then Cop Out and Red State, which kind of went nowhere. I didn't see those. Tusk. And then he went back into TV for a while. I didn't even know this. Did The Flash and Supergirl and the Goldbergs. I'm sure those are good. I would bet money those episodes are some of the best ones. Because I think when he's given a good script, he can do well. And when he's doing something, you know, that he's really passionate about like comics, I think he can do well. But that all being said, after watching this trailer, man, it's just, the energy is just not there. all right. So to break it down for you, Randall and Dante are still at Quick Check. Well, Randall was at the store next door, uh, but I guess they're both working at Quick Check now. And Randall has a heart attack. And then in the hospital, he's lamenting his life. He's never really done anything with it. Dante says, I always thought you could make a good movie. And Dante gets the idea, or Randall gets the idea, yeah, I'm going to make a movie. And then he ends up making basically Clerks. So it's really Randall as Kevin in a meta thing, right? About movies. Sure. I mean, I can see it. You know, if we're finally ending this thing. But this feels almost like a family movie. A family version of what happened to the 90s. Very nostalgia bait. Now, that being said, it might do okay. It might do okay as a movie. Not because I think this is particularly good. I think because movies in general are so horrible and there's no comedies out there worth a damn, that this might be the one thing the starving comedic masses yearn for and give it a chance because they want it. But that being said, I don't think this could work. I don't think this is going to be good. It's not a bad plot. Guy has a heart attack, realizes life is going nowhere, makes a vow to change it, makes Clerks, changes his life. And maybe at the end he drops dead. That would be a Kevin Smith ending, I think. He could finally get the ending he wanted with Dante dying. Maybe he will, because maybe this is the final installment of Jay and Silent Bob. Really, this movie ought to be called Jay and Silent Bob 9. But, and I get it, man. All these guys are older. They probably all got kids. They're all trying to have careers. I don't know what these guys, I don't know if they're full-time actors now. I don't think I've seen any of them in anything else other than Kevin Smith's movies. Maybe that's enough to live on. Maybe they're doing other stuff. I don't know. But, this just feels like the old adage, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Because a lot of what Kevin Smith's movies were chastising Hollywood. And that's what I really liked about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I really liked that part of oh man, he rips Hollywood a new one. But after what happened with He-Man, I think a lot of the good feeling about Kevin Smith has been destroyed. So who's left on his fan base? People who were kind of tuned into him years ago and tuned out, and now, oh yeah, I remember this, I'll go. Yeah, I mean that's a chunk of people. Should do okay for the movie. But I don't think it'll be any great shakes. And it's just disappointing to me that people get, and look, you could say, oh, you're just angry and bitter that you're not successful or whatever. It's not what this is about. I'm a fan of Kevin Smith. I want him to do good. And yeah, I was jealous of his success to a certain degree, but I still want him to do good. It can be both. I still really would love to see this movie take off. But looking at the trailer, it just seems old and tired. Everybody in the movie seems old and tired. It's like, oh, we're having nice memories. That, to me, wasn't what Clerks was about. It was, I don't know, it was funny. It was irreverent. Now it's just, they're still doing this. I mean, Jason brings some energy to it. He always does. Um, I mean, Jay, he's always got some energy. Kevin's lost all the weight. I mean, I think he should put on a fat suit, quite frankly, and be even fatter. But and look, I don't blame him for making some of the movies he made to make money. But this, nah, this this shouldn't be a cash grab. I don't think. But what else has he got at this point? You know, um, a lot of people said what happened with He-Man was something that Kevin wanted to show his woke bona fide so he would get more work, and particularly Star Wars. And if you look, he is getting more work. I mean, he's got Clerks 3 completed. Kilroy was here, post production. Twilight of the Mallrats, another Clerk universe thing. Salmon Twitch, a TV series. Moose Jaws. Helena Handbag. That's a lot of projects coming up. So maybe he did, or maybe he just miscalculated, or maybe he just is tired and kind of doesn't care anymore. This is his business, and you got to make the money where you can. I mean, look, Hollywood is vicious. It's tough to make money, and you can be forgotten and never work again. And that's the scariest thing ever. To never work again. To be at Kevin Smith's level and never work again, whew, that's scary. That is a scary thought, because you got quite a high overhead, and while you're trying to get work, you're flying out to LA, you're having meetings, you're staying at expensive hotels. You have to spend quite a bit of money to maintain a lifestyle so they'll even talk to you. You have to have an agent, and you have to spend money, big money. And he's flying all over the world making stuff I didn't even know was made. Like, he made Jay and Silent Bob Get Irish, Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. It was a Irish and UK TV special, respectively, back in 2012 and 2013. Plus, he's done Comic Book Men and a bunch of other TV shows and Masters of the Universe. So it's not like he's hurting for money in some respects. But in order to maintain that money, you gotta keep being part of the system, I guess. And it's just, I get it. You gotta do some of that. I mean, he said it in, I believe, Jay and Silent Bob. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had a sequence when they were talking about, oh, you're just doing that movie so you could do the other movies, kind of thing. Yeah, you do studio movies so you can get the movies you actually want to do. Is this what he really wanted to do, though? Is this the movie he dreamed of making? Ugh, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like Clerks at all. It feels like, studio clerks. The studio head said, yeah, don't talk about oral sex so much in your movie, Kevin. That's a little harsh. Yeah, don't kill the guy at the end. Maybe that was the moment. Maybe that was the moment right there when he when he cut that scene at the end, when he agreed to have that scene cut where Dante is shot at the end of the original cut of Clerks. Maybe that was the moment. He said, I want to make this money. I don't know. So, I mean, I'm completely turned around in my head about this. So, probably my evaluation, you could take it or leave it. I can't see this movie. I just can't. I don't want to see the characters degraded. I would rather they stay back in the 90s where they were, and yeah, I just I don't want to contribute to this. And after what happened with He-Man, I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth uh, with Kevin's work, because on the one hand, I understand doing studio stuff to get by, but I still can't get past the presentation of the He-Man situation. It felt like a lie, and I didn't even like He-Man. I always thought it sucked. I always thought it sucked. And what he presented wasn't even that bad. It was actually decent. And if he had been honest about it, I think there wouldn't have been a problem. Probably would have been okay. But Kevin, for a long time, has presented himself as the king of geek culture, and I don't think you can do that and be the guy who's working for the studio. I don't think you can be the authority on geekdom and say, "Yeah, this is the good stuff. Yeah, you got to watch this." Back in the day, you could. Back in the '90s, he could, because he wasn't that established in Hollywood. Star Wars was this esoteric thing. It was just coming back. It was still in the hands of George Lucas. It was still kind of great as a franchise back in the '90s. Now, I don't think if Kevin Smith came up today, he would say glowing things about Star Wars. I don't think he would say glowing things about a lot of the movies coming out. I think he would have a lot of criticism for him. But are we going to see that? How can you do that and work for the studios? At a certain point, you just say, I'll leave that to some younger guy coming up. I got to make my money. I got boat payments. Anyhow, that's just my opinion. Yeah, Clerks 3. I can't watch any more of this.